Thomas Frank to Tottenham is imminent. Confirmation is coming. And what else is forthcoming is a summer filled with non-stop transfer rumours linking Spurs to players all across Europe's big leagues. The lure of Champions League football isn't one to be played down, to be underestimated. So let's look at 5 players Spurs should be targeting this summer. Before we dive into these 5 players, let's just establish what positions actually need recruiting. And even before that as well, these picks are going to be realistic. Although they are brilliant players, Levy is not going to splash 100 million plus on Carlos Baleba and Adam Wharton. Be realistic now. But straight off the bat, Spurs need a number 6, a defensive midfielder, someone to bring experience, quality, dominance to partner alongside some of their youth core. They could also do with a centre-back in the event of Christian Romero departing the club, a winger on the left to add some quality. And number 10 to me is slightly more debatable. I don't think it's a priority position by no means when you have Madison, Odegaard, Kulusevski who can operate there. I think there's a higher demand elsewhere, particularly in defensive midfield, which is where I'll be discussing first. Number 1, Sander Berge. Sander Berge is a 27-year-old, 6'5" Norwegian defensive midfielder. He plays for Fulham and his contract length lasts until 2029 and his current market value sits at 22 million. However, I believe it will be a fee of 30 to 40 million that takes Sander Berge's services across London. His injury history is very promising since his time at Sheffield United, missing just 1 month since then, and his stats as of this year are very promising. We can gather from this he gets on the ball, shares brilliant accuracy in his passing, likes him to be forward and is more than capable defensively. Berge as a player is a ball-carrying, strongly built, tidy deep-lying playmaker. Tidy and composed are the only words you need to describe him with. Berge is very sensible in his actions. He's mature, he's cool under pressure. He doesn't play any stupid passes or hugely risk losing the ball, as he takes very good care of it. When you have a player like Sander Berge in your team, quite simply you maintain possession much more frequently. He's man-made to be in a team that dominates, and that can dominate like Tottenham Hotspur. He uses his body effectively when trying to turn and pass forwards, but keeps it nice and simple if the option forward isn't quite available. His range of passing is fantastic. He can lift the ball nicely into the forward line from deep, making the connection between him to the forwards who want the ball at their feet to create, to run, to shoot, very easy access. All of this while staying tactically disciplined, stabilising Spurs in transition. His physical frame means he can thrive in a high man-to-man aggressive press, as he can physically compete. He has the know-how when to time his tackles, presses and duels without giving too many fouls away. He reads the game with true excellence, and for me, partners Lucas Bergvall really nicely. A Scandinavian duo in midfield will put a smile on the face of Thomas Frank. These two can dictate the flow of the game while helping them progress up the pitch and build up, and most importantly, work hard off the ball. This could be his Christian Norgard. When eyeing up his defensive stats, I found they weren't massively appealing for a defensive midfielder. Still solid, nothing to worry about, but if you want someone whose bread and butter is duels and defending, then let's move on to the next player. Number 2, Xiao Palinia. Xiao Palinia is a 29-year-old real engine of a midfielder whose move from Fulham to Bayern hasn't quite gone to plan. At Fulham, he was one of the leading players in his position amongst the Premier League with superb availability, but then made a 50 million move to Munich and has completely flopped. Bayern are looking to move him on, and a fee around the 20 to 35 million mark will likely do the trick. In his last season at Fulham, he was fantastic. You can see here he was a real aggressor, and it's worth noting that he made the most tackles in the league by an absolute landslide. Spurs need someone who can play in a defensive midfield position and completely dominate there. Someone that wins their duels, communicates out there on the pitch, breaks up the play, wins those 1v1 battles, and Xiao Palinia does that, all of that with no questions asked. He is a workhorse midfielder. Spurs throughout the season have often been exploited through the channels in transition, but the event of Ange's side being carved open in midfield was also a regular viewing. Palhinha is someone who will again stabilise them, as he's not someone to wander forward too much, meaning he'll sit back, jump into play to keep Spurs ticking. It's a selfless role that he will play to allow the more technically gifted forwards to flourish. The only downsides that do come with Palhinha is his slight lack of playmaking and his over-aggression. He's not exactly terrible on the ball, he's fine, but don't expect him to be this press-resistant technical monster like a Vitinha. But his exceptional ball-winning ability does come with that tendency to give away a lot of fouls. His sheer engine matches Thomas Frank's high aggressive press, but it might just come with a few fouls. Against some teams, that will be handy. It could be a trigger to kill momentum, but sometimes it could be a frustrating occurrence. But let's shift on to the next target. Number 3, Antonio Nusa, another Scandinavian target. Nusa is an electric, tricky, agile, pacey dribbler that has a handful 1v1 of his speed and close ball control. His expertise sits within 1v1 dribbling, where he can go either way. He can be direct, be effective in congested spaces, and most certainly with space to drive into. Although he's missed a segment of the season with RB Leipzig due to injury, this sample of data tells you he receives the ball high up the pitch, he likes to take on his opponents 1v1, and actually wins a decent amount of duels for a winger. It's a surprising factor in a player so skillful. Often in football you get very stereotypically gifted players on the ball that are quite lazy off it. Nusa isn't that. Possibly a reason as to why Brentford was so close to signing him in the past. Imagine being impressed by Antonio Nusa, Dominic Solanke and Brennan Johnson. That's serious levels of speed when sprinting, which will be handy in transition too, as Nusa is too very good at driving into space in behind. Unfortunately, his record of hitting the back of the net isn't so frequent and his injury history isn't amazing, but he's only 20. He's raw, and a part of that raw ability makes him so fun to watch, as he gets you off his seat with his skill and speed. He's got so much time to develop, and he would light up Spurs on the wings. As I said, he can cut inside, he can beat a player, cut inside, create from there, or he can run down the byline and cross. He isn't one-dimensional. His dynamic along with Brennan Johnson is exactly what Thomas Frank wants from his set of wingers. Number 4, Tyler Dibling. We've gone from one high potential young winger to the other. Tyler Dibling is a little more known in these parts as he's been linked for some time. The reported fee of 50 million is high, but this is an insanely talented 19-year-old who doesn't just cover both wings, but also the attacking midfield role. It's quite rare you get a 19-year-old spark on a team like him at this level and manage to drive through a crowd of players like him. If Southampton were stronger defensively this year, they could have been a much more dangerous counter-attacking outfit with an attacking outlet like him who will get you up the pitch in just a few seconds. His ball carrying from deep is absolutely ridiculous. Frank's Tottenham side will differ between counter-attacking in transition against some of those bigger teams and then dominating, which means wide overloads and emphasis between short progressive passes and direct ones. Those wide overloads to surround Tyler Dibling would work immensely well, or even position more centrally. Spurs will face low blocks, so the likes of Solanke, Johnson, Dibling, Porro, Udogie, Maddison gives you the different tools to break it down. You've got a threat from crosses, runners in the box, wide overloads, aerial threat, but also a forward that can beat 2 to 3 players single-handedly, draw fouls and enter that penalty area. He's raw, and a move to a top club like Spurs should come with eventual guidance and easing in from Thomas Frank and the squad available. Spurs will be getting their hands on a very in-demand, high-potential, premium young player who slides right into the squad along with Archie Gray and the existing youth core. Number 5, Yannick Van Hec. You could probably gather this is a Christian Romero replacement, and to me, a very good one. Of course, the off-putting aspect is the fact you've got to buy from Brighton. A fee of 60 to 70 million is quite steep and would probably do the trick for his services. But to me, honestly, go for it. Statistically, he's been exceptionally dominant for Brighton this season and has proved that not just in the Premier League but at an international stage as well. He's jumped above competition for Holland and has solidified his spot as a partner to the great Virgil van Dijk. Spurs could have Holland's starting centre-backs for years to come as their own, with Van Hec and Van de Ven. Centre-back partnerships in football are huge and the relationship between the two would be top. Van Hec is a super physically demanding centre-half who shared success against many top strikers, including Erling Haaland, physically going match for match with him. Aerial battles, he gets right in there. Ground duels, clearances, box defending, he's really impressed at. Then he has his centre-back partner, Mickey van der Ven, to defend those wider spaces with his speed. On the ball, he's super relaxed. It's not a case of him being a good defender, yet shaky with the ball. He's a very solid progressive outlet from deep that enjoys both passing forwards and carrying it forwards whilst being able to hit an accurate diagonal into the wide spaces. On the ball, in fact, once he's being pressed, he is immensely composed and quite skillful, to be honest. Despite that high price tag, I think this is the perfect Romero replacement to partner Mickey van der Ven. He's already a top Premier League centre-back in my eyes, and a move to Tottenham will only elevate and showcase that even more. However, those are my 5 realistic picks for Thomas Frank and Tottenham Hotspur. My honourable mentions list, whilst doing research, consists of these names you can see now. Some of these players missed out due to their potential price tag, the overall fit, wages, age and their limited skill sets, such as Nemecha, who is very tall, silky midfielder, however though is a bit lazy off the ball, not really matching what Thomas Frank demands. Antoine Semenyo, I absolutely love. His ability to go either way is tremendous, but his inconsistency and 70 million price tag I don't think is very worth it. But let me know in the comments below which players you think Tottenham should target this summer. Thank you for watching and I'll see you guys in the next one.